Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do my weekly update for, what is it, June 13th, 2021? Wow. How are we in June? Anyway. Today's a very rainy, cloudy day, so this is all artificial lighting. You can't, I have the window up, but you can't tell. Anyway. It was a weird reading week in a good way. Like, I read a lot of things, but I was all over the place, and I think I've come to the conclusion that I really should embrace my mood reading ways of just picking up stuff as I feel like it. Now, I also have a tendency when I do that is to start books and not finish them either. I used to have a really big problem of that where, like right now, my currently reading is longer than it's been in years because I've just started so many things and then I just put them aside and read something else. But I'm also want to enjoy my reading more, so I think I'm just going to kind of continue with this and we'll see how it goes. Anyway, so I'm all over the place. I'm still participating in some readathons, so that is good. It's just I'm picking up maybe not as many as I want from those readathons, but I'm also picking up other stuff. I don't know, I'm all over the place. Anyway, so let's talk about the books that I read this week, which I actually finished 6 things this week, which was a really good week for me on finishing things. And then I started another one, and then I have a couple books that I want to get to, as well as books that I'm still in the middle of. So, well, I have a lot to talk about. This is going to be a long video. Sorry. Warning ahead of time. So the first thing is I read this graphic memoir, The Arab of the Future, A Childhood of the Middle East, 1978 to 1984 by Riyad Salud. This is translated by Sam Taylor. I'm guessing it's from Arabic. I'm not positive what language. It doesn't say, but I'm pretty sure I'm guessing that. Anyway, or no, French. Maybe he was French because he's French. Yeah. So this follows Said as a child, and he he was born in France, but his father was from Syria and his mother was from France, and so it's their life going back and forth between France and Syria, and then they went to Libya first, actually, and now they're in Syria at the end of this one, and then they were going back to France, I don't know, for a visit or something. Anyway, so I've been wanting to read this all year. I just finally asked for it from my library, so I probably will try to get the second one at some point. There were good, like, I think there's a lot in here that's history-wise that, again, he was a child at the same time I was. Maybe I might be a little older. I think so. But most of it, again, it's stuff that I remember hearing things, but I don't understand them. And it's very interesting to see it from his perspective as a child in those different countries and the things that he saw. And I think it's very fascinating so far. So I do want to read on. It's a different perspective of stuff I do not know much about at all, and I want to learn more. So I am going to pick up the second one probably from the library at some point. I think my library has all of them so far. I think there are 4 out so far. I'm not positive, but I've been as I said, I wanted to. So it's really interesting because it changes color by what country they're in. I think that's just a really interesting way to show how they traveled when he was a kid and for his dad's work and stuff. So I just thought it was very interesting. So I do, it is hard seeing some of the things of the childhood of things that he saw, and it's kind of heartbreaking in that way. So I do want to continue on with that. I meant to, as I said, read that a while ago, but I finally got it from my library. The next book I finished, I think on Monday or Tuesday, I don't remember, is A Month in the Country by J.L. Carr. So this was a book I picked up for Pastoral June. It's talking about a man, it's 1920, and it's just, it's following, I don't remember, is his first name Tom, but his, Tom Birkin, and he goes goes up north to this town where they have a church that has this panel that's been whitewashed over, or whatever the painting underneath has been, has been covered up, and he's there to restore it, to chip away and to reveal what the painting was, because somebody paid, you know, somebody's will paid for that. So he goes for the summer up there, and it's his being there in that small town, and the people he interacts with and things. And so overall, I really like this. I mean, I can see why some people love this book. I think there's a lot of good things in there, a lot of deep things about people with, who were in the war. Again, this was right after World War I. So again, they're dealing with those aftermaths, and then personal relationships within the people he meets. And there were certain things I didn't quite like, or I didn't feel, I didn't get enough conclusion. But it also, this is like a snapshot of a summer that affected this man's life going forward. So it's him looking back on this summer that was so different from any other, and the people he met and things that happened. I just didn't quite like the way it ended, in the way, not that it didn't end well, because it did, but it was like, it just, because I wanted more, I guess. I just didn't like some of the what he did, or how he ended it, I guess. I don't know. But overall, I really enjoyed this. I'm glad I finally got to this. I read this, as I said, for Pastoral June, which is being put on by Angie at Literary Labors, and Summer at Cozy Reading with Quaker Cats. So I did want to get at least this one done, because for sure, because I've had it on my shelf for a couple of years, I know many people really like it, like Shawn the Book Maniac, so I've been wanting to get to it, and I bought it to read it, and I'm glad I did. And it said, it was one of those things where I think I wanted more, even though I understand what the author was doing. So it's one of those things where I get it, but I just wanted more, and I guess, or I wanted things to go a different way, or I don't know what I really wanted. I feel kind of, it feels almost like, even though it's a short novel, because it's 134 pages or so. But I just wanted more, I guess. And I guess to me it felt like a short story, even though it's long enough to be a very short novel, but still, I don't know. But I really liked it. I'm glad I read it. And it might be one I need to revisit, and maybe my second read will be more poignant, but I just feel like I had just a slight pullback, because it is just a snapshot. I don't know, there's something about that, but I really liked it overall, and I can see why people really love that book. The next thing I finished, what did I finish this on? Tuesday or Thursday? No, Wednesday or Thursday, I can't remember which day. I finished The Sakura Obsession, the incredible story of the plant hunter who saved Japanese cherry blossoms by Naiko Abe. So this was, again, I have a thing with, I love anything Japanese pretty much. I love reading the literature and learning about the country. I listened to this on audio. I bought the audio a while ago, and I just hadn't got to it. So it was narrated by Ellen Archer, and she did a really good job, I thought. So this book follows Abe as kind of, she wanted to research about the sakuras, the cherry blossom trees that, you know, are pretty much, you think, I always think of Japan with them, because I've watched a lot of anime and read a lot of books, and so I know how part of the culture the sakura is, or the cherry blossom tree is, or ornamental cherries, however you want to put it. And so this talks about a man named Collingwood Ingram who really got fascinated with them in the early 20th century, and he, because of his drive to find as many varieties as he could in the 1920s, he was actually able to save a lot of them that disappeared from Japan during that, between that time and through World War II. So, because a lot of their trees were destroyed for many different reasons. So it was really interesting to get the history of Japan around the sakura, and how it's been used politically. It's been used, it's used as a symbol, you know, for a lot of different things in their writing, and also in their government has used it in not a way, you know, for propaganda purposes. And so, but what I liked the story mostly about Ingram, and how, again, it's one of those things where, you know, he had a lot of privilege due to his money and power, you know, like his being able to have his garden at the Grange in England, and he was able to gather all these plants and stuff, and he was, you know, a leisurely gentleman who had the money to do that, and he had that privilege. But he also saved a lot of those specimens that could have been lost to the world. I think there's a lot of interesting interplay with that, with what the history, you know, you have to look at it as, you know, he maybe you wouldn't expect someone from England to save them, but he did. He actually returned several. They were able to return several of those species back to Japan because he had saved them, or, you know, had taken samples and he had cultivated them and had them growing and stuff. So it was really a good read. I really liked it overall. What's really fascinating is Abe first wrote this in Japanese, and then her English speaking friends asked her if she was gonna there was gonna be an English version. So she rewrote the thing, and you know, she translated herself. She currently lives, I think, in England with her husband and kids. So, but she has written, I think that she's written other books on in Japanese. So it was very interesting because there's no translator. She rewrote it for an English speaking audience for this book. So I thought that was really interesting, which is why I couldn't find a translator last time. So anyway, I'm really glad I read that finally. As I said, I have it on audio if I want to listen to it again, but I had got the copy from the library because that's what I do, because I wanted to see all the pretty pictures. So, but anyway, I really enjoyed that. If you are into history, and again, this is a nature nonfiction that was on my maybes list to read for Springathon. So I'm still finishing things that I hadn't picked out for that. Anyway, but that is, I really enjoyed that audiobook. So I'm glad I read that. So then the next thing I finished was another audiobook on Friday. I read a really short audiobook for Ancientsathon. So Ancientsathon is put on by Jennifer Brooks and Tori at Hufflepuff Discovery. And I wonder if I can get this to blow up. Yeah, well, close enough. So I read the saga of the Volsungs and the saga of Ragnar Lothbrok. Anyway, so these were both translated and narrated by Jackson Crawford. So it was free on my Audible Plus. So I just got it. So listen to it. It was like, 4 hours. And I had not listened to this saga before. So I have not listened to a lot of the saga. So I'm actually thinking about doing one of the prose or poetic edda, because I don't remember if I've actually read any of those in school. And this one was not one I had known a lot about. Actually, the Ragnar, there was a scene in that I remembered from somewhere else that I don't know where I know it from. So I'm still trying to figure that out. But it was a good narration. The thing with the sagas is that it's very light. Like, it just says they did this, and this, and there's no beautiful description, because again, it came from an oral tradition, and so this is just kind of, the poem is just that was written down. It was in Icelandic, I believe. I think in the 1300s. I think it was something like that. So, I mean, again, it was from earlier than that, but, so it's been passed down. So it's like very, bullet point kind of storytelling. I would like to have seen something like this, but expanded, like narrative, like more to it. I'm sure, like, as an oral storyteller, they would have embellished it and done a lot of other things. But so this was very, sleek, to the point of the story was like boom, boom, boom. So, and I guess, I'm sure the other, the edda is the same way, but I'm going to find out. I think I'm going to try to listen to one of those. I don't remember which one I have. I have one of them already downloaded on one from Audible at some point. Anyway, so I enjoyed this again. This was it was just interesting. Just brutal. The fighting back and forth between people, and then the betrayals, and then the comeuppance of when they do something bad. It was really interesting, and I'm glad I listened to it. I don't know if I got a whole lot out of it as much as I could have if it was more of a narrative style, but I also think it was fun, and yeah. Anyway, another book for Ancientsathon. So I thought that was good. I'm glad I listened to that. So again, I'll probably pick up one more before the end of the month. We'll see. And then I of course I'm reading other things which are a little denser, but my brain was like, I need some fluff. So I was looking at myself and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to finish the Bridgerton series. So I finished the 8th book, the 8th novel, On the Way to the Wedding by Julia Quinn. So this is book 8 and this is Gregory's book. This was my least favorite book. There were some good things in here. Again, it's good fun, as in it's very light, fast reading for a historical romance. Like well, it wasn't bad, but it did this, like, I really liked the beginning. It's kind of how I feel about The Duke and I. I really liked the beginning. Like, it was funny and it was kind of interesting to the play back and forth between the characters for different various reasons. And then the second half was just a wash. I'm like, what is this all? Anyway, so this one follows Gregory, who, you know, is just starting to think about, well, okay, I'm 26. Maybe I should start thinking. But I know when I see her, I will know that she is the one. And he sees Hermione, and she is just gorgeous, of course. And but she doesn't want really anything to do with him. And her friend Lucy is trying to help him, kind of either have her see him as more because she doesn't like who her friend likes, but then of course Gregory and Lucy start having interactions, and then that one's more of a slow burn, which is, so it's kind of talking about, you know, the Flash, a fall in love at first sight kind of thing versus the, you know, friends to lovers kind of thing. So there are a lot of things I liked about this book until we got to the second half, and it just went in ways I'm just like, what? And I also, I don't know, it was pretty ridiculous, actually. So I didn't hate it, but this is my least rated, my lowest rated of the bunch of all 8. I don't know if I'll ever read this one, but we'll see. I'm not gonna get rid of them yet because I have the whole thing. Okay, Cooper. Yes, I know. But anyway, so I finished the main series, which that was my goal this month, was to finally get to this and then finish this. I feel like I couldn't start or get into any of my other historical romance series when I was in the middle of this one. I just felt like I had to finish it, so, which is unusual for me because it takes me forever to finish the series. So I finished this series. I finished those books. And then I read the Bridgerton's The Happily Ever After, which is all the second epilogues. So all the books have an epilogue, you know, kind of like a little farther down the road. Picture them. And then these are like second epilogues. So we get a little farther into the future on them. So almost all the books that I got, because I bought most of mine new, have it in that book. I would not recommend reading them until you finish the whole series, because every one of them, a lot of them has names of dropping from people in later books or, you know, couples later. And so I finished The Duke and I did read that one. And then I'm like, okay, I'm not reading anymore because that's too spoilery. I mean, I could have just read the backs of the books and I would have known who the couple was going to be in book 4. But it was like, you told me. I didn't like that. So I stopped reading the epilogues. And not all my books have them, because I think one of my books is a used book. So I didn't have them all. So I just paid for this, which, yes, maybe not worth the money, but it also came with another short story called Violet in Bloom, and that was worth it for this book. I liked all of these second epilogues. A lot of them were fun. I would say the very last one, before the Violet's story, which is the mother of all the Bridgertons. The story before that, Gregory's second epilogue, was probably the most heart-wrenching, but I think it's because she'd done so many other ones that were more fluffy that that one was a little harder on me, and it actually helped me like this book a little better, but not much. Not enough. But the short story about Violet, I really liked that one. I thought that was really well done, and so I'll probably keep it just for that. But again, I have now finished the Bridgerton series. I don't know, do you guys want me to do a ranking of the books that I read? I don't know, but you'll have to let me know. If not, I finished the series and I finished the epilogues. I'm done for now for the Bridgertons. And yes, I have not watched the Bridgerton. I have not watched the Duke and I, or the Bridgertons. I don't have Netflix right now. My brother hasn't got it recently, so I'm going to talk to him and see if we can get it for a little bit so I can watch them. But anyway, I still haven't watched it. So, hopefully this year sometime I'll get to it. I'm horrible about watching TV anyway. So, but I read that book so quickly. Like, I started it Friday night. I finished on the way to the wedding, and then I read like maybe I read the first of the 9 stories in there on Friday, and then I read the whole, I finished it all yesterday. So anyway, I read fast. Anyway, so okay, let's talk about the books that I'm in the middle of now. So I finished quite a bit. Yay. I am still reading Inferno by Dante. This is the translation by Robert Pinsky. I went to the library, I think, on Sunday and picked this up. I didn't like that my version didn't have a translator listed, and that really bothers me when I don't see a translator listed. I get rid of those books. Like, I'll get rid of that one because that was ridiculous. So I borrowed this one from the library just to get myself through it. So I haven't been reading as much as I was hoping. I was hoping to read a couple. I was hoping to get this done this week, like read 5 cantos a day. Yeah, that's not going to happen. I'm on canto, I've read 12 so far of the 34 cantos that are in here. So my goal is to at least try to read 1 or 2 a day, and try to get this done by the end of the month. I'm not going to push myself as I was going to try, because I have all this other stuff I could read for Ancientsathon. So many books that I want to read, and I just can't force it, and I have to mix it up with other things. I just can't read all ancient literature or stuff. So anyway, so far this is weird, but it's also interesting because I'm learning a lot of stuff, you know, like you hear about in our culture, like things will pop up and I'll be like, I don't know anything about Dante except for that. So it's been interesting that way. Because it's another prose, or it's like, you know, it's written in a poem kind of thing, you know, like, you know, this one has the original and the translated on the side, which I really like that. I like seeing that, even though I don't know Italian. Again, I'm not used to not prose, you know, like poetry is just not my thing. I'm just not good at that stuff. So anyway, but I'm really, I really want to get through this. I just want to be able to say I've read at least Inferno. I would like to go on and read more of the Divine Comedy, but I just want to make sure I read at least Inferno this month and be able to say I did that. So anyway, so I'm working on that. Like I said, I'm hoping to read 1 or 2 cantos a day to get it done by the end of the month. That's the goal. Another book that I'm going to be reading about a chapter a day is The Sun in the Morning by MMK, My Early Years in India and England. So she is a writer who, her parents were British, who are well, from the United Kingdom, and they worked and grew up in Asia. So mostly in India. Her dad was in the army there, and then her mother grew up in China in the family of a missionary. So she was born and raised in India, and so it's talking about talked about her parents' life and then her life, her childhood so far. Again, we're not very far. Again, I'm not super far into this, but she's she only went to England when she was about 4.5, and then she didn't go back for many years because right now the World War I is happening, I believe. So yeah, so again, as I said, it's very interesting because again, we get a lot of what India looked like to her and her perspective of it. I think it's really interesting. She brings up some of the what do you call it? The other writers who'd written famous books, so like E.M. Forrester, and she talked about some of the women who just was like didn't understand anything, and they made some comments that were like so untrue she could totally prove because she was there, and it's really interesting to see that. I thought that was very interesting. But I like seeing you know, living in another country, and then again I think she moves around quite a bit in her life. Again, this is the first book of a 3-part autobiography, a memoir. So I'm reading this with Kate Howe and a couple other people on Voxer. I don't know how far everybody else is, but I've been chugging along. I'm just trying to get it done. Hopefully by the end of the month is my goal. It might take me a little longer than that. Some of the chapters are really long. Some of them are fairly short. So I'm trying to do a chapter a day now because I've kind of let myself take this pretty slowly. Cooper. But I'm really enjoying her writing. Her writing style is awesome. So of course I have her, her most famous book is The Far Pavilions, which I believe was made into a, I think, a BBC like miniseries thing. So I've never seen that. She also wrote Shadow of the Moon and Tidewinds, and then she has a mystery series. So I do have now 2 of her books, The Far Pavilions and Shadow of the Moon, on my shelf. So I'm hoping that after I finish this book, or maybe, I don't know, I'm probably going to buy the other 2 books to this. I told myself I have to get halfway before I made that decision, but I'm pretty sure I'm probably going to buy them and then continue these. So I don't know if I'm going to read those before I finish this, or if I'm going to read it before I get to the part where the book, when she talks about her writing. I don't know, because I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen in this book. So we'll see. Anyway, so I'm still really enjoying that memoir. And then I started yesterday For the Wolf by Hannah Winton. I think this was Winton, something like that. Anyway, so this was one of my most anticipated books of the year. I had it pre-ordered from a really long time ago, just pretty much for the tagline: the first daughter is for the throne, the second daughter is for the wolf. So we are following the second daughter in the first book in this, I think it's going to be a duology. I'm guessing, because it's about, her name is Red. It's a short for another name, which I can't say, but she is the second daughter, and so she's known her whole life that she is going to be sacrificed to the Wilderwood, and the wolf lives in the Wilderwood, and there are some missing gods, and there's some creatures that supposedly he controls, and so she is knows all her life that because she is the second daughter, that she is going to be given to be sacrificed when she's 20. So her twin sister, Navi, I think is how it's said. She is going to be the next queen. So they're very close, and her sister is very upset that Red is being sacrificed. But Red also feels something growing inside her, and she knows she has to go. She knows it's not safe for her to stay in their kingdom, and she doesn't willingly, but she goes along with the whole thing and goes to the Wilderwood. So I've just got past where she's gone to the wood and met the wolf, which again isn't what everybody thinks. And so far, I'm really enjoying this. I'm only 50 pages in, so it's about 430 pages. So I have quite a ways to go. I'm hoping today to get a big chunk of this done, if not finish it. I'm pretty sure I won't finish it. I like to say I'm going to read like 300 pages in a day, but I only did that with the Bridgerton. Yes, Cooper, come on. But I'm really enjoying it so far. It's definitely interesting, and I like her writing style, so we'll see how it goes. So I'm hoping to get this done early this week, but this is actually a book I bought this month that came out on the 1st, so it's not usual for me to pick up a book right away. Well, I mean, it's still a couple weeks, but it's still closer than normal. Normally it's years for me, so I really wanted to get to this month, and then as I said, I'm enjoying it so far, so we will see how that fantasy goes. And then books I think I'm going to read after that. I do have the next book I want to pick up for Pastoral June is An Irish Country Doctor by Patrick Taylor. I did start this, so technically this is I've started, but I put it down because, again, I got to the scene where we have the young doctor and the older doctor, and the old doctor setting up the young doctor for to like a rude awakening on his perceptions of patients and what they want from him. It's just, it's one of those, oh, ouch, it's gonna hurt scenes kind of thing. So I just stopped. I'd only read about 20 pages. So I have started this, but I haven't put it on my, I started it one day and I go, no, I'm not ready for this yet. And that's when I switched over to, the historical romances. But I will, hopefully, by the end of the week be reading this. I at least want to get past that scene to see if I'm going to like this, because it was quite a, it definitely had the Pastoral June kind of, a pastoral setting, in Northern Ireland, in this really small town. And I'm guessing we're going to get to all these crazy characters, but we'll see. I guess it's a series. And again, I got this book, from Liz Schubert when she was, getting rid of some books on, I think, Instagram. I don't know. But anyway, so I am, I said, I want at least, I'll give it another shot. It was just, that day, that scene was just kind of bugging me. I just couldn't get past it. So we'll try that again. And then I really want to pick up for my reread, Alpha Night by Nalini Singh. This is book 19, is that right? In the Size Changing series. Book 20 is coming out in a month. And I really, really, really am looking forward to that. So, in anticipation, and because I was thinking about it just the other day, I'm like, I need to read this again. So it'll be my 3rd or 4th read. I don't remember. I've only had it a year. So, I'm gonna, it's my paranormal romance, one of my favorite series. As I said, book 19, don't start here, but I love these characters and I do want to reread this. So I'm hoping this week that I'll start this reread and get through that. So, I don't have an audiobook set for this week. I think I'm going to take a week off because I listened to several audiobooks in a row. So I think I had like 3 in a row. So I think I'm going to take a break, at least for a couple more days. But that's kind of where it is. And my cat is biting my fingers. Anyway, so let me move on. So let's just do my board real quick. Oh man, I'm such a talker. But I did pretty good considering how many books I talked about. So, okay. So I marked what happened last week. I'd forgotten what I DNF'd, but whatever. And then I had a classic and then a nonfiction. So this week I have another nonfiction. Ow, cat. I have a translated other for that memoir. And then I have, what else did I have? Oh, I had 2 historical fictions. Kitty, oh Jesus. Anyway, and then I had the Saga, so that is a pre-1900. Oh, and then I did continue a series, and I finished a series with the 2 books that I read for that. Anything else? Did I miss something? The cat is distracting me, which is, another historical fiction would be A Month in the Country, because it was written in 1980, but it was set in 1920. So anyway, so that's what it looks like so far. I got quite a lot checked off. That's pretty good for me. I'm not everything yet. I mean, I'm not really hitting any big books. I'm really doing bad this year. I'm really picking up small books and stuff. But that's kind of where my board is right now. So that's it. And Cooper, you're just driving me crazy. Anyway, so that's it. How was your guys' reading this week? Anything good? Are you guys participating in either Ancientsathon or in Pastoral June? How's your reading going? Are you all over the board like I am? As I said, I'm just letting myself pick up and put down books all over the place. This night, my currently reading is insane for me. And you should see my couch just has books laying all over of all the ones I've started or I want to start. It's been crazy. Anyway, so I hope you guys are having a good day, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.